Here's a new old saying for you. A revolution built upon the bedrock, the foundations of the former construct, will be limited and destined to repeat the mistakes of those they are trying to replace. To stay aware of the corporate news, I let my computer just randomly choose and I end up with some jewels. What I watched today was a replay of a National Press Club event that happened on my last birthday. Dan Rather and three other pundits discussing the state of journalism. But my clip actually started at the beginning of the Q&A. The first question come from a kid that wanted to know if Dan Rather still stood by his observations on the initial impacts that occurred that day and the requirements needed to bring those towers down. And Mr. Rather kind of weaseled out of giving an answer. The second question pertained to the Bilderberg Group, and all four of the pundits professed a total ignorance of that subject. The third question I didn't quite catch, but the answer was astounding. When I heard Dan Rather say that step one is to regain the trust of the American people was step number one. After the two previous answers, he's got a long road to hoe. What a very strange world we live in, Master Jack. No hard feelings if I never look back. Are words of a song that I never agreed with, even though I did enjoy dancing to that music. The U.S. citizens have been thoroughly trained to begin each Monday with memories only reaching back to Sunday's football game or whichever the latest sporting event was, forgetting even the little history they were around to actually experience, much less a few tidbits that may have been exposed to in school or on the Boob Tube's History Channel. Not that they make any real effort to tell the truth or examine the mistakes and atrocities our government has foisted on the rest of humanity. You know, those supposedly uncivilized brown people whose own history predates ours, and who remember not only their own accomplishments, but our direct involvement in the destruction of their security. We are taught from a tender age to ignore at all the world pays in order to support the U.S. standard of living. The oil we demand at low cost, the cell phones our children insist on having, the clothes on our backs, even the food we stuff into our faces are all subsidized by our ever-increasing military and private contractors, making the world safe for the multinational corporations that profit off making the rest of the world miserable, so that we, the few, the 5%, the fat and lazy consumers of 25% of the world's resources, can stay blindly ignorant of the damage we do. Don't look back. Don't think. don't accept responsibility. Go ahead and text your BFF that with a black face at the helm, we need not feel guilty about the status quo ante. Can we have our cake and eat it too? Our brand new logo says it all. Yes, we can. But under cover of emergency, the jackboots hit the ground, militant and packing heat to spread compliance all around. Whatever tactic proves the best, including fear or holding up for ransom those held dear. I can assure you that within their breasts and heads, compassion is a concept seldom found. Robotic cogs of industry in lockstep to the core, thrilled to beat and stomp and mace, catch their breath, then beat you more. Festooned with toys and artifacts and tools to enforce compliance. Hair-triggered retribution for all acts that hint defiance. Even simple thoughts, if mixed with questions, is something they abhor. Their ranks are quickly filled up by men and women with fragile insecurities who bolster their self-image by increasing their brutalities. It's hard for me to sympathize with those who work for empire, destroying liberty, democracy, and all the freedoms I desire. What right have they to force me to pay for their increasing depravities? The pundits speak of social needs we can't afford to pay for, while pumping cash at banksters in the military structure. 9 million of our children sleep with empty, hungry bellies. Their moms and dads with anger weep and pray for healthy babies because there is no money to ensure that medical entitlement will be able to endure. We got the money to buy guns and tanks and even submarines to fight Al-Qaeda's future navy. We're going to extremes. To fight with nuclear might the ragged few, or lacking that, the Pentagon and CIA, well, they'll invent a threat or two. To keep the money flowing to the warlords and the banksters and the lawyers and the gangsters pushing legal drugs and cancers like the DEA and insurance companies that suck your money then refuse to pay when you need it most, it seems. Now, into the circle file.